What up, YouTube family? Listen, this is the last one in the bag series. I'm excited because we're talking about how to spin the bag. Let's get into it. Okay, listen, if you haven't watched the last two episodes before this episode, you want to go back and watch them. You want to go watch how to get the bag, how to keep the bag, and today we're talking about how to spin the bag, okay? I'm not going to tell you what I said in those other two episodes. You got to watch them, but watching those will make this one make more sense to you. So you got to make sure you keep up with this bag series. How to get the bag, keep the bag, spin the bag. Today we're talking about how to spin the bag. Listen. The bag represents your money, your finances. The Bible has a lot to say about what to do with your money, how to handle your money, the spirit you should have with your money, the heart behind your money. All of these things have everything to do with your bag and what happens to your bag and how your bag lasts, how far it goes, all of these different things. But today we're talking about how to spin the bag. Listen, I want to read a verse to you so that we can start with a biblical perspective in our thinking on timing. Timing when it comes to spending, okay? And in the Bible, they got it right. Genesis 47:20, Joseph had impeccable timing. Now, if you go back to the previous episode on how to keep the bag, you'll see that Pharaoh was saving during the times that things were plentiful. But let me show you what now Joseph and Pharaoh are doing together when times are in famine. Okay? They were saving when times were plentiful. They were holding back, having self-control, because times can be plentiful for a while, but times of famine can come. So when things are going well, you want to be diligent, put money aside, making sure that you have self-control, not blowing it, doing everything that you want with it, but having some fun, but making sure you're also putting to the side for a rainy day. Now the rainy day has come. Genesis 47:20 says, "So Joseph bought all of the land of Egypt for Pharaoh. For every Egyptian sold his field because the famine was severe upon them. Thus the land became Pharaoh's." Okay, come on now. Y'all have got to see what happened. In the last episode, I said Pharaoh was saving because they were in the 7 years of plentiful. So it lets you know when you should save. You should save when everybody's spending. When everybody's spending and things are good in the economy, things are going well, you know what I mean? And everybody's out there just spending money, going on vacations, everything is good. And it's not the crash of 2007 and 2008. Some of you remember that, but everything is good. Pharaoh was holding back. Self-control, he was saving. But what happened when there was a famine? Pharaoh started spending. Joseph started spending. And everyone else started selling, trying to get money because there was a famine. They were trying to now pull themselves into a secure position during a storm. No. You got to understand how to spin to win. And Pharaoh was wise. Joseph was wise because they understood we don't roll with the herd. We don't do what everybody's doing. In order to win, we have to go in contrary direction to how everybody operates. When everybody's got money, everybody wants to go spend. But the wise and the prudent know that is the time where you hold back. So go back to that episode and listen to it when we talk about save. But here we're talking about spending to win. And Pharaoh and Joseph had a plan that during the famine is when they would spend. During the times of plentiful is when they would hold back. Listen, most of the culture does not move in this principle. They moved with the simple principle that goes like this: buy low, sell high. Have you ever heard that? Ever heard that principle? It's a very simple investing principle. You buy when things are low and you sell when things are high. That's all Pharaoh did. That's all Joseph did. Is they bought during a famine. Guess what? The prices were low and everybody had their house for sale. Everybody had stuff that was on auction. Everybody was trying to accrue for themselves because they waited for the famine to come to realize that saving was important. Pharaoh and Joseph waited for the famine to come, and then they took their money out of savings and started spending. Why? Because everything had depreciated. The prices had all dropped. The famine had showed up. So they spent their money, but they spent their money in order to win. That's just telling you what the government does. This is the government. Joseph is second in command. Pharaoh is at the top of his game. This is the government. The government waits for a famine and they come in and buy everything up. And who's selling? Me and you. Me and you are selling because during the famine, oh, we got to get out of our house. Oh, we need money. We panic. And everybody starts panicking, but the prudent, they don't panic. They start purchasing. They start spending in such a way where they're winning during a famine. When things are not good, they have already stored up and they see things are starting to decrease. They see things aren't going well and they come in and they start buying an inheritance for their children's children at reduced prices. I want you to understand this principle was a biblical principle way before the times that we're sitting in now. It's what they did then. It's what the rich do now, what the government does now. So many things were bought up in 2007 and 2008. I remember me and Kanika we were living in an apartment in 2006, 2007. But then we were thinking about family planning and having children. So we started looking for a house in 2008. We didn't know what we were doing. We just decided it was time for us to look for a house. We went into the neighborhood that we're kind of in now, and there was 20 foreclosures and one subdivision. 20 foreclosures and one subdivision of the neighborhood. It wasn't the neighborhood, it was just a subdivision of the neighborhood. And we were thinking, what's going on? We had no idea. We didn't understand the economy and all of those different things. We just happened to want to buy a house then. Well, I put 2 offers in, one for a house that was 4,000 square feet for $200,000. Think about where we are right now. Put the offer in for $200,000. The bank said yes. I was like, okay. I went to another house that was 3,400 square feet. I put an offer in for about 180. They said, sure. I said, okay. So we're just deciding what we wanted. There's no multiple offers. There's no fighting. There's no, we could sit there all day because nobody was out there. Everybody was selling. Nobody was buying. We didn't understand what was happening then. But now when I look back, oh, the land was in famine. And that's when the prudent buy. Now, I was just blessed. God just put me in position. I didn't understand it, but now I understand it. Because now the market is triple what it was then. So there is a way to spend to win. And if you go back to my previous episode, there's a way to make sure you're in position to save during the good times so that you can rock and roll and spend with smarts, even if things aren't going well, because that's where the inheritance can be built. Listen, trust me when I tell you. Now you're saying, well, wait a minute now. Everything's expensive right now. Yeah. So what does that tell you? In the times where everything is great, Pharaoh was just sitting back, relaxing, being content with what he had. He's just chilling. I don't need anything. I'm good. Price is too high. I'm not interested. But when those prices fell, the Egyptians, with an S, sold. Everybody was, hey, I need to get out. Pharaoh was spending to win. Joseph was prudent. Are you prudent? Are you putting yourself in a position now where you can spend later? That's the question that I have for you, because you can spend to win. Now, I want to make sure before we stop this, before I'm done with this episode, that I read a verse that I previously read in other episodes. You got to go back and watch them. But Proverbs 22:7. It says, the rich rule over the poor and the borrower is a slave to the lender. We have to learn how to be prudent as Christians and how to flip the script. We have to learn how to be the lender and not the borrower. We have to learn how to be the bank and not just need the bank. We have to learn how to take their mindset and use their mindset for our good. What is their mindset? They want to take your money so that they can invest it and make money on your money. They make investments. They make prudent investments, wise investments. They don't give you any interest, but they go and make money. It's called fractional reserve banking. The bank takes your money and they go and make money on your money without giving you anything in return. And they'll give you credit cards. So if you can't afford it, you can go spend their money and they'll just put an interest rate on you, because that's another investment. We'll just make you pay us interest on what we gave you. So they are making money and they are being prudent while we are being slaves. Listen to me. We've got to learn how to flip the script on the banks so that we can be prudent. Why? Not so that we can just learn how to get a bag and keep a bag, but that we learn how to spend the bag so that we can win. Did you know that you can spend to win? You can spend in the right times, but you can also spend in such a way to use the bank against itself. Okay, listen, I can't give a bunch of financial advice. All I can do is tell you one of the things that we do in our family. We save money, we put money to the side, we have things that we'd like to accomplish. You know what we do? We take our credit card, because it's the bank's money, and we go do what we were gonna do with our money anyway. But when we use the credit card to do it, and we already have the money sitting there, we could have used the debit card, but we chose to use the credit card. Why? Because the credit card builds my credit score, the debit card doesn't. The credit card gives me liability protection. The bank is liable if anyone steals my credit card and swipes however much money. Once the bank finds out it's fraud, guess who's gonna pay it off? The bank. They're liable because it's their money, not my money. And you know what else the bank will do? The credit card gives you points and advantages, rewards, cash back. The debit card doesn't. So we learned, wait a minute, I can use the bank to bless me instead of using a financial tool that does nothing but put me at risk, doesn't build my credit, and doesn't give me any points. So we've learned one way, this is one way, there's a million ways, but we've learned one way where we can use the bank to grow in our area of need while making sure that they're not using us, because we always have the money available to pay it off, because we could have used the debit card, but we wanted the advantages of the credit card. Let me give you one example before we get out of here. Just one example. We wanted to renovate our bathroom, okay? So we're trying to be prudent, okay? We've already spent at the right time. We got our house at the right time. Things were low. You know, we sold high, buy low, sell high. So that's one way you can spend to win. But the other way you spend to win is we said we wanted to renovate our bathroom. It was gonna cost $3,000 for the supplies, okay? $3,000 for the supplies. We saved the money, we had the money there. I got a credit card in the mail from American Airlines that said, we will give you 100,000 miles if you spend $3,000 within a month. I said, is that right? Well, that's very nice of you, because I have $3,000 saved right now for this bathroom renovation. So I went to the store and I used their credit card to swipe for $3,000 worth of supplies that I already had saved. Once I saw that 100,000 American Airlines points hit my account, you know what I did with that card? I took that money, I paid it off, and I cut the card up. I don't need it anymore. I just took my kids to Disney World. It's 7 of us. 4 of us got free tickets. Now with my debit card, that would have never happened. But with using the bank against themselves, it can happen. You have to be prudent. You have to be wise, because there are ways you can spend to win. There are ways you can use the bank for your advantage and not be a slave to them. And then you have to understand when it's time to spend and when it's time to have self-control, so that you can build an inheritance for your children's children. Listen, go back to former episodes, because you got to learn how to get the bag. You got to learn how to keep the bag, but you also have to learn how to spend the bag so that you can be prudent, be wise, and spend to win. Listen, be steadfast, unmovable, always abound in the work of the Lord, and know that it will not go in vain. Like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, share the video. Let me know in the comment how you use the bank, how you spend to win, how you position yourself. I can learn from you just like you're learning from me, because we are a community and a family. Let's do it together. Until next time, let's go.